AM 630. WMAL.
8:37 on WMAL. Brian Neiman, Brian Wilson on a very important day in this nation's history where the Supreme Court rules on the health care law. Is it constitutional? Can it stand? What will happen today? We're going to find out about a little less than an hour and a half from now. Martin DiCaro from WMAL, the newsroom, is down at the steps of the Supreme Court. What's it like down there right now, Martin?
Well, it has certainly ticked up a little bit, and a circus-like atmosphere, and I mean that in a literal sense. We just had belly dancers here, and two of them, I wasn't quite sure if they were pro or con. The sign said, and I did not have an opportunity to interview them because they were dancing, and then I had to come on with you two gentlemen.
Right,
yeah.
Sure.
Sorry to kick you away from that.
Yeah, the sign said, and I apologize if I speak over you occasionally. It is really loud down here now. The sign said, strike down the Obama mandate, single payer now. So maybe they're for and against. And they had the belly dancers going. There are the Tea Party patriots here dressed like, the Minutemen. And hundreds of reporters and media crew members from across the globe. I just saw a woman from a Swedish radio station walk past me. And all along First Street, Northeast, the whole sidewalk up and down in front of the courtroom is loaded with TV cameras and light stands and chairs where a lot of cameramen are chilling out now before the decision is going to come down around 10:20. So it's certainly a circus-like atmosphere, and it's actually kind of fun to see people disagree with each other peacefully demonstrating alongside each other.
Yeah, now I understand there are people who have been lined up overnight to get a seat inside the high court at 10 o'clock.
Yes, it reminds me of those days where a new video game system comes out and people with their backpacks and things like that and bleary-eyed were here all night and they're waiting for the doors to open. There was a line that assembled, and at around 7:30, police officers started giving out yellow slips to them, and then they walked over to another side of the block where they're going to wait online to get in and witness these historic proceedings.
Any members of Congress walking by? Have you seen them? And how are people going to actually find out about the ruling? Those that are standing out right now, just waiting in line or just hanging out by the Supreme Court?
Well, I suppose that I have not seen any members of Congress. I suppose that the folks inside, once the ruling comes down, will come on out and share it. This is potentially a complex ruling with parts of the law potentially staying, others going. I'm assuming that everyone's going to just get on their devices and immediately start going online, Twitter,
right.
news websites, to get the nitty-gritty about which has stayed and which has gone and the reasoning behind it, whether it's going to be 5-4 or 6-3, etc. I mean, we're all connected now, so you almost don't even have to be here.
Yeah, well, that's right. But I've been on the steps for some pretty major decisions. I don't think I've ever been there for one quite this big. Maybe the Bush v. Gore.
Yeah.
That was pretty big, of course. But you think everybody's going to behave themselves down there today?
Yeah, I mean, at this moment there aren't too many demonstrators here. I assume that's going to change. Well, this is a historic decision. Some commentators have said, this is going to set precedent for generations when it comes to the Commerce Clause. And, the rhetoric out here this morning has been, pretty moderate. But, of course, during the year or so that Congress battled over this and the President battled over this, there was some ugly rhetoric flying back and forth about, and both sides probably can take some blame for that. But, what's going on inside the building is about the Constitution. It's about the Commerce Clause. And a lot of what you're hearing out here today, is somewhat irrelevant. People bring their pet issues to and you've seen, both of you guys have seen this, of course, over the years. They bring their pet issues over whatever it might be and try to latch on to the larger issue. And if you come down here and check out some of the signs, you might be scratching your head as to what does that have to do with,
Sometimes they literally bring their pets, actually. Right. Yeah. All right, Martin DiCaro live at the Supreme Court. We appreciate your time. Make sure you get a up-close picture of the belly dancer.
I've already gotten one. She actually wanted your phone number.
Right, thank you.
Sorry,
tell her I'm married, Martin.
All right.
We'll talk to you later.
Martin DiCaro, who'll be on the steps reporting for WMAL as the verdict comes down, the ruling comes down. He'll be getting on that as soon as he goes and finds out the name and number of that Swedish radio reporter that he saw. But I'm sure he'll be right on it after that.
But it is funny. I mean, Twitter these days and the ability to have the mobile devices, I mean, that's where a lot of it comes from. Well, because you could actually communicate faster via Twitter these days for reporters than you can.
Yeah, but you check those before you go upstairs for the ruling. You have to check those. You can't take those in. So you got to come back down to the press room to get those before you come out. Right? So I think in times when I've done it, I've tried to get out the front door and just come down the steps with the ruling in my hand. That's just the quickest way. But literally, you're really going to be going through a very, I suspect. I mean, we don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe it'll be clear cut. Law's dead or the law's alive, and that's a pretty simple thing to report. But I suspect this is going to be a mixed bag of things, and it's going to be very complicated, and it's going to take a while for people to figure it out. And I've always thought one of the most difficult jobs that you can have is to be a Supreme Court reporter on a day when a huge ruling has come down. Everybody wants to know what's in it. Everybody's standing by with bated breath, to use a cliche, and they just can't wait to get the information, and you have to sort of synthesize 300 pages of complex legal writing.
Right.
It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, so my counsel to those who are standing by today is let it percolate for a couple hours before you believe exactly what